Next, we're going to switch, hopefully, thank you for doing this, we're going to switch to Africa. As I mentioned, the thing is I can't see. Well, let's do this. Okay. Every week, now it's switched to every 2 weeks, and then when we've got the whole backload covered, we'll switch to once a month. But different GBC members give a 5-minute report on their zone before we have to dive into the nectar of management. So this is by Govardhan Prabhu. Govardhan Prabhu is the head of the African BBT and disciple of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. I believe he's initiated by Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And he's co-GBC for a number of countries in southern Africa. So, of course, the story, the inauguration of the African Yatra, Brahmananda was sent to Africa, and it was really tough in those days. And they were mostly just preaching to the Indian community. So Prabhupada came to Kenya, and I don't know whether it was I think it was in Nairobi, not Mombasa. I think it was in Nairobi. And Prabhupada came to the first program. It was all Indian, respectably Indian gentlemen. So after the program, Prabhupada said to Brahmananda, "Where are the Africans?" Brahmananda said, "They won't come. They're not interested. They won't come. They'll just steal everyone's wallet, and what's the use?" Prabhupada was having none of it. Prabhupada said, "Rent a hall in the African district." He said, "You go there an hour before put up posters, announce the program. I will go and speak. And you have kirtan." He said, "You open all the windows, you open all the doors, and you have blissful kirtan for an hour or so, and then I'll come." Prabhupada said it. What could they do? They rented a hall in the African area. They had blissful roaring kirtan, opened the doors and windows. The whole hall filled up. Prabhupada came, gave a lecture, and it's a fantastic lecture. It's in maybe it is Swahili. I forget what the local language is. Maybe it's Mau Mau. I forget. But they're like Swaraj. You see, for liberation or freedom. Was the battle cry for Indian liberation. So theirs was, I forget what the name was, but it means same kind. It means liberation. It means freedom. Prabhupada gave his whole lecture on that Swahili meaning of what real liberation is. Prabhupada said, you were controlled by colonies. You've been exploited for, generations. Now you think you're free, but you're just being exploited by your senses, and you're just being commercially exploited. You're not really free until you actually, can become a Goswami. Powerful lecture. When Prabhupada finished, the audience gave him a standing ovation. But Brahmananda told me it was about a 5-minute standing ovation. They were so pleased. So, every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. So this is the little bit of South African countries. Next. So this gives you a picture of the countries he's GBC for and the places we're going to visit. We're also going to go not to Madagascar, but we're going to go to Mauritius and Réunion. Réunion is a French protectorate. Mauritius is an independent country now. Okay, next. So he's GBC for 10 countries, 53 languages, 39 temples, 2,900 initiated devotees. South Africa alone has 16 centers, 2,000 initiated devotees. Mauritius has 13 centers, means preaching centers, 800 initiated devotees. They have 2 farms in Mauritius. They have 22 Ratha Yatras. 11 in South Africa, 22 per year. They've had over 110 Ratha Yatras altogether in South Africa. They have 11 a year, almost one every month. We'll have more on that in a minute. 15 sets of installed deities. 2.9 to 3.5 million plates of prasadam per year. Resident sannyasis, 5 resident sannyasis, 1 in Botswana and 2 in Mauritius. You'll see that in a minute. Sannyas candidates, 2 more up and coming, and 6 Govinda's restaurants. The Seychelles is a big resort place. It's for diving and ecotourism. It's beautiful, beautiful, crystal clear water, and it's a huge preaching center, tourist area all over Europe, America, Australia, and we now have a restaurant there. So next, they have a very nice management approach. They've got you can see they've got local leaders, let local leaders lead. They have national councils. They have zonal supervisors that may see over part of a country. They're building their talent pool. Anyway, it's a long story. We're doing something on the GBC. We're developing executive support system for our executive for the GBC, a Ministry of Communications, a property management, so many different things. And many of that talent is coming from South Africa. Okay, next. So this is just some of the team. This is Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. This is Govardhan Prabhu. So this is some of the team. Next. They have a Pan-African Vyas Puja. All the temples in Africa make their own Vyas Puja book in honor of Srila Prabhupada. Next. This is very hard to get. This South African Revenue Service, that we are we are a recognized nonprofit, and we're tax exempt in South Africa, which they usually don't give. Maybe some of you may know Shuddhi Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple. Most Prabhupada disciple know Shuddhi. Shuddhi was sent as a young brahmachari. He was in India. He was sent by Prabhupada to help Rishi Kumar. Rishi Kumar was and then Pusta Krishna. He was sent to help. And we were on a blacklist because we had Indians, blacks, and whites mixing together, which you could not do under apartheid. It was a criminal offense. So Shuddhi, his mother was it's a long story. His mother was a famous civil rights attorney. She also was the attorney who put together the BBT, the trust for the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. I met her. She told me, and she was a big attorney. Irvine Corporation, which owns, half the land in Southern California. They're big, big, big. She was their private attorney. So she was very good. She said Prabhupada she said she never met a client like Prabhupada. She said Prabhupada knew exactly what he wanted and explained it to her perfectly. She wrote it up. He made a few changes, and so Shuddhi's mother was visiting him in South Africa. He went out on Harinam. She was looking at some tourist sites, and he was picked up by the South African police. You can ask him about this. And the South African police asked him, where your temple, how you're getting books, who else is coming to your temple. They literally had him in a window, just like happens, in different countries sometimes. People, whoops, they fall out a window. They're thrown out the window if you don't give them what they want. He was in the window, big burly South African FBI, whatever they call them, And he said, you see over there, his mother found out what had happened to his mother was underneath. He was up, I don't know, with 4 stories, 5 stories, whatever it is. His mother was out on the street. He said, that's my mother. She's a civil rights attorney, and she's going to see you toss me. And they took him out of the window, beat him up, and let him go, So the South African devotees have been through a lot. Now they're recognized, you'll see some more. So next. This is a temple, and we'll go back to South Africa in a minute. This is Réunion, which is that tiny island, beautiful island it's a French protectorate. It's full of tourists. And this is our temple, ISKCON temple in Réunion, if you ever go there. Next. This is the Sunday feast, and they're beautiful deities. How many of you can find Réunion on a map? I didn't even know where it was till I looked at a map. Yeah, next. There's a nice sannyasi there. So it's a little hard to see these, but these are just some of their examples of the congregation. Next. And this is the governor of Réunion. That's Govardhan in front of him, and that's the governor. Next. And now we're in Malawi, and that's our temple there. We have a preaching center there. Next. This is the Seychelles. I mentioned the Seychelles. This is the Govardhan restaurant that's just opened. Next. This is Namibia. Namibia was a German colony. It's above South Africa. It's on the coast. And there's over 2,000 Germans living in Namibia. So they're preaching to the Germans and preaching to the Africans. Oh, it says 20,000. Sorry, it is 20,000. They're also in Mozambique. They have 2 preaching centers, and they're going to build a big temple now. It's just now coming. Mozambique, I think, was Portuguese. Next. So this is Botswana. Botswana is a landlocked colony. It's just desert. And underneath that desert is one of the biggest diamond deposits in the world. So this is our temple in Botswana. The locals call it the wedding cake temple because they think it looks like a wedding cake. Next. And this is the president of Botswana meeting Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. And you can see that there's other gentlemen there. Those are the different ministers, commerce, trade, whatever, just finance. So they all came to the temple for the opening, and we're very happy to see it. And that's Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, who's quite blissful. Next. So this, we have a hugely popular, it's one of the most popular. When you go to Zambia, I don't even know where Zambia is. Is Zambia part of a break-off from Rhodesia? Anyway, when you, top 10 places, things to see in Zambia, one of them is our Govinda's restaurant. Next. Now this is also in Zambia. This is their nice temple, preaching center. That's a picture of the building. That's the other side of the building. Next. This is Mauritius. It's a beautiful island. And next. This is Prabhupada in Mauritius. The prime minister when Prabhupada was there was Mr. Tilak. It's got a lot of Indians. It's a lot of Indian, and I think that's mostly Indian. Prabhupada said it has the potential to become the first Krishna conscious country in the world. Next. So this is a new temple. We've got, 19 temples and preaching centers in Mauritius on that little island. So this is a new temple we're building. It's in a prime location. Next. Now this, I don't know if you can see from here. It's on the main intersection. These are 2 main freeways. And this is our temple coming up right here. You can see that's where the Shikar, that's the Shikar, that's over the Darshan Mandap. But it's a main location in the city. The land was donated to us by the city. Next. So this is what the temple will look like when it's finished. This is in Mauritius. Next. And these are the deities at the existing temple. I forget their names. Next. Now we're in Durban. We're back to South Africa. I have to reshuffle the order of these, but this temple was built by a devotee named Tulsidas. He's one of the heroes in the early days of Africa. He's a hero. So this was all built by devotees. Next. This is inside the temple room. This is an aerial view. This was really like Bombay, the Mumbai temple in Juhu. Because of the Juhu temple, they could open so many other temples all over India. They would show people the picture. We build this, so you give us money and we can build the temple locally. And they worked. So the Durban temple, this temple, that's how they opened so many other temples in South Africa. They said, look, trust us. We build this. We'll, give us the money. We'll build one for you. So you can see, this is the temple at night, different angles of view. This is the temple. So the ceiling's all painted with Krishna and Leela. Okay, next. The Janmashtami program, the whole program, Janmashtami Day, is broadcast on one of the main news channels of the national television. These small countries, you can have a big impact. Next. These are the deities, and I don't know their names. I wrote to get their names. Beautiful deities. We're in South Africa. We're in Durban. We're in Durban, South Africa. The first temple in South Africa. Next. This is, what is this? Oh, this is a postcard. It's for WhatsApp Traveler app, and it's for different countries. And it says one of the 20 things that, where is it? It says here, one of the top 20 places to visit in Durban is Govinda's restaurant. And it's this is some, like they have, DoorDash and those different, Grubhub, that deliver from restaurants and stuff like that. Their top rating is our restaurant, Govinda's restaurant. So that's what this is. It's recommended on Restaurant Guru. Next. Now, they have a number of satellite preaching centers. This is an example of one of their satellite preaching centers from the Durban temple. Blissful devotees, huh? Prabhupada will be so pleased. What? They won't become devotees. They become first-class devotees. Next. This devotee, I'd forgotten his name. This is one of the top, radio personalities. Radio's big. Radio's bigger than television because everybody can afford a radio, So radio's big. He has on the nationwide in South Africa, he has one of the most popular radio shows once a week on the, under the auspices of this guy's show. Millions of listeners tune into the radio. Next. The devotee looks blissful too. And he got, what is it? One of the mudras for teaching, So this is Kadamba Kanamaj, who left this body. I could give a slideshow and will one day if somebody reminds me about Kadamba Kanamaj. He spent a lot of time in South Africa. Powerful preacher. And he started their college program. So this is one of their college programs. South Africa. Next. They do yoga classes out in the park. So this is one of their regular yoga. It's nice weather. This is one of their yoga classes. Of course, which includes chanting japa. Our whole Long Beach temple started because Tukaram was preaching in yoga classes. Yeah. Next. Oh, turn it back. And what is this? What is this person doing? Oh, they're all chanting japa. Perfection of yoga. Topmost yoga. Okay, next. This is also one of those Harinam yoga classes in the park. Started by Kadamba Kanamaj. Next. Now, this is in Soweto. I don't know if you know the name of Soweto, but Soweto was the heart of the anti-apartheid movement. It was it was a horrible, it was like a concentration camp. And if you were black and you worked in Durban or Johannesburg, yes, in Durban, it's in Durban. You had to be back inside. You couldn't go outside without a pass. You had to be back before nightfall. It's where there were huge riots and so many things. We have a huge Ratha Yatra in Soweto now. So this is the Soweto Ratha Yatra. Next. This is Jayadvaita Maharaj speaking at the South Africa's Constitutional Court. It's like our Supreme Court. It's like when Radhanath Maharaj spoke to the directors of the Bank of England. It's pretty far out. So to the Supreme Court justices at the Constitutional Court, there's Jayadvaita Maharaj. You can be sure he did not pull punches. Next. They have 110 Ratha Yatras to date in Durban. It's right on the beach. It's like Watsika, or Venice Beach. So here's a picture, 110 Ratha Yatras to date. Next. This is the pandal that they set up, and these are the participants, the audience. It's huge. Indra Maharaj brings his whole festival there. It's just absolutely fantastic. Next. Culturally many, spiritually one. Great slogan, huh? So this is the advertisement for it. Festival of Chariots. Next. Because they put on, what was it, 19? No, it was 11 Ratha Yatras in South Africa per year. So these are the different posters of the different Ratha Yatras. East London, you can see the different places where they have different Ratha Yatras. Almost one a month. We got a lot of flack. The pundits who would not let the Western Vaishnavas into the temple because we weren't, born in India. We were born across, sinful malechas, nishadas, so many different things. They wouldn't let us in. Therefore, Prabhupada would never go in the Jagannath temple, even though they invited him, he wouldn't go. So we got a lot of flack. Prabhupada got letters from the pundits. You can only have Ratha Yatra on the same day as we have. It's July something. And in Australia, they have Ratha Yatra in the summer. Their summer is our winter on the northern hemisphere. Oh, you can't do that. Prabhupada said, is Lord Jagannath? He's not Purinath. He's not only little Purinath. He's Jagannath, Lord of the universe. So Prabhupada, this is nonsense. So Prabhupada would be extremely pleased, Lord Jagannath's extremely pleased that practically one Ratha Yatra a month all over South Africa. Next. This is the African Ratha Yatra Alliance, ARYA. And what they're doing is they're helping other countries set up Ratha Yatras. Just like Ratna does, they make the carts, they do so many different things. Oh, who told me that cart that you saw, that was designed and built by our Ratnabhushana. Yeah, he went there and showed them how to do it. It's got the collapsible, canopy and everything. Next. Anyone recognize this gentleman? He used to come to every Ratha Yatra. He loved it. He would block out his, you can imagine, he's a world figure. He would block out his calendar. Jimmy Carter's coming. I'll have to meet with him next day. I'm going to Ratha Yatra. Huh? Oh, I didn't say? This is Nelson Mandela. Yeah. Now, here's something interesting. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj told me this. And it was confirmed by Bhakti Chaitanya, who was Raghubir at the time before he took sannyas. When Nelson Mandela came, you're sitting on the stage, they have a bunch of dignitaries and the mayor is speaking and then this sannyasi is speaking. So you're waiting, and he was the keynote speaker, of course. So the devotee speaking quoted a Gita verse in his talk to the audience. And quietly, Nelson Mandela finished the verse. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj says, you know that verse? He said, I know so many verses. So while they were just quietly sitting next to each other, then the podium's over here, and then they would go back and forth. Nelson Mandela would say half a verse. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would finish. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would say half a verse. Nelson Mandela would finish. And they went on. He said, we did over 100 verses. So he said, how did you learn this? Nelson Mandela, they tried to break him. They sent him out to Robbins Island. And what they did, they had him just smash rock. It's all limestone. So it's bright white. Nelson Mandela almost went blind because you're out there in the bright sun and you're just smashing rocks, and at the end into just pebbles. Well, maybe they're going to use it as gravel or for beds of roads. No, the guards would wheel it over and dump it into the ocean. In other words, your work is absolutely fruitless. We're just making you slave. And if you don't eat, we whip you, put you in solitary, you don't eat. So you got to go out there in the bright sun, almost going blind, smashing rocks, and totally 100% useless labor. And people crack, people go mad. So Nelson Mandela, he didn't just go alone. He was with a number of his top lieutenants. And he said, we're going to go mad. That's their strategy. They're going to drive us mad. Just, we'll get out of here in 20 years and we'll be mindless idiots, blind. His lieutenant, I forget his name, I'm embarrassed to say, was South African, but of Indian strain, South Indian, and knew Bhagavad Gita by heart. So they all learn Bhagavad Gita, because it takes your mind up. There's philosophy. They would talk about the meaning, and he memorized, I don't know how many, but they stopped after 100. It was his turn to speak. So Nelson Mandela is a far out person. Okay, next. This is the king of the Zulu nation. We're going to see him again. That's Bhakti Marg Maharaj. This is that radio personality. I don't know his name. He must be one of the leaders there in South Africa. This is Bhakti Marg Maharaj from Canada. Keep on walking. This is Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. And this is the king of the Zulu nation. And that's millions of people. It's part of, it's a independent, what do you call that? It's a locally managed section of South Africa. Zulus, they're powerful people. Next. This is the current, Ramaphosa. He's the current president of South Africa with the devotees. I don't know the venue, whether he was visiting the temple. It's got Prabhupada's Gita under his arm, or Bhagavad Gita version. Next. This is the Durban temple in the background. This is their huge food for life. What we said, 2.9 to 3.5 million plates per year. So this is their their food for life. Next. These are some on the site. Look how they're cooking. All nice Krishna Prashadam, happy recipients. Next. This is also Food for Life. Next. Now this is Bhaktivedanta Swami. There's something in the back of my mind. Well, anyway, we'll get to it. Oh, they have a lecture series. It's funded by the national government. Like they have TED Talks and stuff, but this is on the national radio, national television, top world-class speakers. So it's called the Bhaktivedanta Swami Lecture Series, once a year, and they have a different dignitary in ISKCON speak. So that's and it goes national television, national radio, once a year. Next. Who is this? Well, I don't know. This is Govardhan Prabhu, the co-GBC. This is Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. This is Jayadvaita Maharaj? Yes. And I don't know who this is. Maybe the president of the nation. I don't know. Next. I'll have to find out. So these are some advertisements for that Bhaktivedanta Swami lecture series. Nicely advertised, catchy titles. Okay, next. Now they have an annual BBT Africa, all the different places in Africa that they're distributing books. They have an annual conference, annual convention. Next. So you can see the different posters, and they hold it in a different country. Sometimes they hold it in Mauritius, they hold it in Zambia, they hold it in Zimbabwe, they hold it in different, that way the devotees get association. This is BBT Africa conference, double it. Next. So these are the attendees at that annual BBT conference. They rent an ice hall. This is Braja Bihari speaking. This one was in Nairobi. I can't see out of my glasses. I don't know who this is. Can you see? One of the speakers. Okay, next. This is the king of the Zulu nation. Here he's in his traditional attire, leopard skin. Here he's gone casual. This is Govardhan Prabhu. Very friendly, very supportive. He loves our Food for Life. He loves our lecture series. He said, what is the use? You know, you can maintain the body, but what is the use? He said, what is the body but meant for, but carrying the soul? Nice guy, huh? Okay, next. So these are I don't know what these languages are. These are different, what did he say? 59 African languages that they're producing? I forget what the number of total of African language. These are main languages. So there it is, different versions of Bhagavad Gita, different language. Next. So a little bit about book distribution. Next. I think we're close to the end. This shows their book distribution. This was during COVID. What could they do? This was last year. And this is this year to date. He says they're at a stage they're going to blast through what they did last year. The book distribution is increasing every year. Next. So this is the Bhadra Purnima. These are all the different countries that they were selling sets of Bhagavatams. Next. This is what, almost 19,000 pieces of literature. And the people are poor. It's not easy to do. Next. Here's some happy recipients of Prabhupada's books. Next. Yeah. All different types of people. They go out to malls, they set up book tables, just like we do. It's fantastic. Next. Just some more happy recipients of Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada said there's Brahmins on every corner. Just go and pick them up. There's people waiting for Prabhupada's book. Maybe there's 100 people. You see 100 people? There's at least 3 or 4 people in there who are all these questions in their head. What happens at the time of death? I don't feel like it's just material. You know, this material life is not hitting it. How can everything be happening by chance? There must be intelligence. All these questions rattling around in their head, and nobody can give them a good answer. They're just waiting to get Prabhupada's books. Next. So there it is. That's the end of it. Spreading Prabhupada's mercy in the countries in South Africa. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the African Yatra. Hare Krishna. So we can end there. Thank you, Prabhupada.